Hello and welcome to the Northwest Fusion Group YouTube channel. I'm Ian, G0VGS. A while ago I did a sort of FAQ for the channel and a few more questions have come up, plus a couple of things that probably need to be reiterated. So I've decided to do FAQ 2, which is what this is, and I hope you enjoy the video. Question 1. I entered my call sign and my name into my radio, but nobody can hear me. What's happening? I've seen this happen recently. So let me explain something about the way the call sign and the names work in the radio. G0VGS Ian with a space in between is perfectly okay. G0VGS -Ian is perfectly okay. But you must have a separator between your call sign and your name. If it just says G0VGS Ian, WiresX will be absolutely fine with that. But some reflectors won't pass audio if there's no separator. In fact, while you won't have an issue on Northwest Fusion Group, some reflectors may reject you if you have anything more than just your call sign. So the safest way to make sure that everything works okay is to just simply use your call sign. But if you want to put your name in there, that's fine, just make sure you've got a separator. If you have G0VGS Ian, all one word, then some reflectors won't pass your audio. Question 2. I seem to be having issues using voice wide. What's the problem? Well, some reflectors and software just can't handle voice wide, and all you'll hear is silence. If the other station switches to digital narrow, you'll hear them fine, but in voice wide, you may not hear them, depending on the reflector in use. This isn't a problem on Northwest Fusion Group, but can be on certain reflectors. Often people cross-moding can't hear voice wide. So if you're speaking to somebody who's cross-moding from, let's say, DMR, they may not be able to hear you if you're using voice wide, in which case you can switch to digital narrow and they'll be able to hear you. If you're using voice wide and you need to take a reset, leave a longer gap than you would normally. If you just drop carrier and key up again immediately, it's quite possible that voice wide won't register to the system again, in which case you'll be happily talking away thinking everybody's hearing you when in fact the system isn't accepting you. So if you need to take a reset and you're using voice wide, if you unkey, wait a couple of seconds before you key up again, and all will be well. Question 3. My radio keeps changing mode and people can't hear me. What's the problem? There are basically 3 mode options in your Yaesu radio: FM, C4FM, and AMS. AMS is Automatic Mode Select. What this means is that if your radio hears FM, it will automatically switch to FM. If it hears C4FM, it will automatically switch to C4FM. It sounds wonderful, but in practice, quite often, it can be a pain. You're having a conversation in C4FM, you drop carrier, the other station has their over, and as they unkey, your radio hears FM, will switch to FM, you key up thinking you're still having a conversation, but now you're in FM mode, not in C4FM, and the other station won't hear you. So the best thing you can do is make sure that you choose the mode you wish to use and switch it out of AMS. You can find out how to do this in the relevant section in your radio's manual. Question 4. I sometimes see a different call sign on my screen that I can hear. Why is that? Well, there can be several reasons for this. Some radios are shared. For example, there may be more than one amateur in a household. how it's a pain to change between call signs on the radio all the time, and after all, it's only the station that needs to be licensed. So there's no problem at all with just having one call sign in the radio. But from your point of view, make sure you listen to the call sign that's being given. It could also, of course, belong to a club and have the club call sign in the radio, but the person using it may be using their own. Question 5. Can I use my FT991A as a node radio? The simple answer is no. There's no provision for direct wires X, as in PDN or portable HRI mode, with a 991A. Think of the 991A as an HF radio with C4FM. You can access your existing node, of course, and you can also use the gateways and repeaters, but you can't actually use the 991A directly via your computer with wires X. Question 6. I can connect to my hotspot with one of my radios, but not with another. Why? The hotspot will be set for a particular deviation. So all the radios that use it must have the same deviation set. These days, it's usually known as narrow FM. So if your hotspot is set for narrow FM, then all the radios that use it, regardless of mode, will have to have narrow FM set. If one has narrow FM and one has wide FM, one of them isn't going to work. So make sure all your radios and your hotspot are set for the same deviation. Question 7. I've set up my hotspot to use DMR to YSF, as I only have a DMR radio, but people say it sounds horrible. Why is that? It's always best to use the correct radio for the mode with a hotspot. So if you're using YSF, use a C4FM or Yaesu System Fusion radio. If you're using DMR, use a DMR radio. Yes, you can cross mode, but there can be issues when you do. For example, if you call into a C4FM network with a DMR radio, cross-moding using Pi-Star, you will probably find that people will say that you're way too loud. Conversely, if you cross-mode from YSF to DMR, you'll find that people say you're too quiet, and there's no easy way of rectifying that problem. There are some networks that do a very good job of leveling this up, but Northwest Fusion Group is a C4FM only network. So the best thing is not to cross mode and just to use the correct radio for the mode within your hotspot. Question 8. I can't find out how to do something from the manual that came with my radio. How can I find out? Well, the manual that comes with your radio covers an awful lot of ground. But modern radios have so much built into them, it's really difficult to create a manual that has everything in without making it the size of the box that came with the radio. If you go to yaesu.com and choose your radio, for example, this is the FTM400, and go to the Files section, you'll see many manuals. Some are different languages, but others are for things like WiresX and the ADMS software. It's well worth a look at your radio on yaesu.com, and you can download the relevant manual to help you to achieve your aims. Well, I hope you found that useful. If you have enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And do consider subscribing. If you've got any further questions, just drop them in the comments below. I respond to every single one. Thanks to all the new subscribers this time round, and hopefully I'll catch a few of you on the air. Until the next time, thanks very much for watching. Cheerio.